Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. And my question, Speaker, this is the most interesting candidate before us on this committee. And this is the reason why I'm saying, Speaker, I've heard him very clearly, and for the whole of his life, now it's remaining with 3 years for him to attain retirement age. Only 3 years. He has never worked in public service at all. Anywhere, he's not worked in public service. He's not been motivated or what? And in getting the suitability speaker and following what Honorable Junet said.
He's currently the chairman of Kenyan.
Just the other day, Speaker, that's something just the other day. In terms of suitability, Honorable Speaker, in accordance with Section 7, which I want the candidate to be able to explain to this committee and maybe to convince me, what motivation has he in public service now, 3 years to his retire, while he was not motivated for the rest of his life, when he was very, very useful. Remember, Honorable Speaker, I'm not saying that he's not useful any longer. But to attain retirement age is only 3 years. Was that a headhunting or was that a reward? I want Mr. Miko to explain to this committee and the people of Kenya. This is not a joke ministry, as Honorable Bujune said. I don't know what it's to call. And you are coming in during a time when there is complications on CBC, funding, teachers, and so on. And you have never worked in public service. So my question is, what motivates you now at your retirement age to work in public service, Honorable Migos, for us to approve you? What is it? Convince me.
Let's take the next. Kikaria.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe my question to the nominee is, basic education faces so many challenges, one of which is capitation and the addition of fee charged by schools. Secondly, there are those issues that arise because of the school feeding program. How do you plan to address these challenges to ensure timely disbursement of capitation funds and compliance with the Act provisions to eliminate additional fees, thereby ensuring accessible and inclusive education for all Kenyan children? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me start with Honorable Gikaria's question on the basic education issue of capitation. The problem of capitation, or the issue of capitation, is a problem that is of a national nature. It is an issue that arises from the fact that we do not have enough resources in the country. In fact, in the capitation model, the government was supposed to do 80% of capitation to the schools. But at no time has it ever been able to give that figure either on time or in total. So there is a challenge in the money coming to the schools for them to be able to undertake their programs on time. So one of the things that may be brought to bear so that that problem is resolved would be agreeing with Treasury through Parliament that the sums of the budget of the ministry be ring-fenced, because it's a sensitive ministry, so that it gets released on time and released in totality. That is one of the ways that we can resolve the weakness in that particular area of capitation. There are programs and there are policies in place that do not allow the teachers in schools to raise or to give extra fees or levies from the parents. But there are some principals or some teachers or some schools that flout this particular requirement or this particular regulation. So therefore, what we would do is to ensure that we have a strict implementation of those policies by ensuring that we have a watertight disciplinary mechanism for those who actually flout those particular regulations and policies. On the school feeding program, it is a program that was rolled out by government to cover the ASAL counties where there are difficulties of getting food, and also the informal settlements in some towns. And it is currently covering 26 counties. We have a coverage of about 2.6 million children. And it is a program that has to be continued because it helps the students to be retained in school, and it helps them to come, and continue being in school. So what needs to be done is to come up with programs and policies that allow intergovernment agencies, for example, Kenya Meat Commission or the Cereals Board, so that we can utilize the amounts of money we have to be able to reach more children. It's a program that the government wants to continue, and it's a program that if I was nominated, I would continue to pursue. On the question of retirement age, I am not yet on that.
It's irrelevant. There's no age limit for a minister.
There's no age limit.
Mary?
Thank you, Chairman. I want to pick up from where...
Honorable Speaker. That question of age was building my question, and I was asking what is his motivation in joining public service?
Yeah, let me answer about motivation, but not age.
Yes.
But nobody
There's
asked
no
about
age limit provided in
exactly,
any law
Honorable Speaker. But I'm also aware
on being a minister.
that is true, Honorable Speaker, and I'm not. I don't know whether you got my.
You say he has never worked in public service.
So I was
What
now,
is motivating him at this age to accept to be appointed?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for that question. Let me just say that the job that I've been doing as an advocate and working in this country, I have also represented public institutions, so that it can't be argued that because I was in private practice, I have not had any motivation to work for the public. I've also done pro bono work for a lot of public institutions. As I indicated earlier, I've also doubled up in politics, running for parliament, and it's because I wanted to be or to work in the public sector and to assist a lot of the things that I see happening. So it's not true that I have no motivation to work in the public sector. And as I said, I'm currently the chairman of Kenyan. We have done a lot of public programs. We've been able to resolve a lot of the issues that were there pending, ensuring that for the last 1 year, our plants have been 95% available, meaning we've been able to produce electricity at that level without it going below 90%, meaning I've been actually doing some work for the public.
Mary?
Thank you, Chairman. My question to the nominee is on free and compulsory basic education. The Act provides clearly that every child, up to 11, should have free compulsory basic education. And Section 28(2) mandates the Cabinet Secretary, in consultation with the National Education Board, to ensure the establishment of all learning institutions, be it the primary, the secondary, special needs, name them. But despite all these provisions, the Kenyan parent is still waiting to see this provision coming into fruition. I want to ask the nominee, what are you going to do? Because today, even the free JSS, today parents are being charged more money than even the Form 1s. All communication, circulars from the ministry have been disregarded. What are you going to do? And we're receiving concerns from Kenyans telling us how we are splashing money at all levels by various institutions, NGCDF, county government, I don't know, there's presidential bursary. There are so many bursaries. What are your thoughts towards probably seeing how those funds are harnessed to ensure that we provide free, compulsory basic education to Kenyans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the nominee has talked about CBC. If he is confirmed, grade 9 is just round the corner. And he is aware, he has said the funds are not there, they are not adequate. So what would be his position when we get to January next year? Where will the grade 9s be? Will they be in senior secondary, or will they still be in junior secondary where there are no classes? Because there are no JSS teachers, there are no interns for that matter. Secondly, there is a problem of all schools which retain exam slips, which there have been many circulars from all the ministers who have been there that they should not be retained. What is your thought on that? And the last one is special needs schools. They have been ignored completely by the Ministry of Education. If you are confirmed, what are you going to do about the special needs schools?
Deal with those two.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with the question on the parents being charged a lot of money by various institutions beyond what is indicated in the various circulars from the ministry. Honorable Speaker, the problem, as I understand it, is a problem that arises out of the Constitution with the formation of the constitutional, the independent constitutional body called TSC. In the Constitution, TSC is in charge of all the teachers, and it handles including the discipline of the teachers. Now, what then happens is the Ministry of Education is in charge of releasing funds to schools, and when those funds are not used properly, or when the teachers do not follow the circulars, the Ministry of Education doesn't have power to discipline those teachers. They have to go through, they have to prepare a report, go through TSC to give that punishment. So what has happened, because of the reforms that are taking place, there are consultations where we are supposed to work together, and what has come up is to agree with TSC so that with respect to principals, the Ministry of Education becomes an agent of TSC with respect to handling those aspects, especially where they do not follow the circulars from the ministry. So there are regulations that are being discussed as we speak, and once it is agreed, that then would be a problem of the past, because once an audit is done and it is found that a teacher has not done what he was supposed to do, then it is possible for the ministry to take action against that teacher directly without going through TSC. Then the question from Honorable Dawood, there were three. I will deal with the issue of retention of certificates, which has been a problem that has been there throughout, I think, the educational lifespan of Kenya. As I understand it, the schools are only agents of the National Examination Council with respect to certificates, so they are not supposed to retain the certificates. But there is a problem, and the problem is the retention of the certificates is because of non-clearance of fees, for example. So there is need to balance the question of the school needing its fees and the student requiring to have its certificate. So it is something that if you found that I'm fit to take up this position, would have to look into it, find out how far those discussions are, because they've been going on, and then we pick it up from there. Because I believe if it is a question of schools having pending bills vis-a-vis the pending school fees that the children have not paid, maybe we can have an audit and know the exact amount and do one block application either to Treasury through Parliament so that this is paid off and then the children can get their certificate. So there is a possibility that there is a way that can be resolved if we come together and discuss it and see how best that problem can be resolved, because we have to get a balance. The special needs schools, under the capitation model, they do get an amount that is slightly higher than the normal schools. There are also programs and policies that require that, for example, where they need facilities, their allocation is supposed to be slightly higher. But because of lack of resources, it has become difficult to meet all their requirements. What then would be the solution to it is to come up with other programs or other thoughts where maybe we'll get partners to partner with them so that we can be able to handle the other extra requirements as an institution. But it is not something that I can here and now make a decision on what will be done, but I know that it is a problem that needs to be handled. Some of the children that have disabilities and other challenges are also in the normal schools, and they're integrated in those schools. But the programs or the provisions that require those schools to have the special, sort of the special needs, like ramps in those schools, some of them have not been done. But again, that's because of the lack of resources. So really, if we are able to get resources, then we'd be able to handle that. On the question that he asked, Honorable Daud asked about the junior school, where it will be domiciled, I think the Presidential Task Force went through public participation, and they made a recommendation that the junior school needs to be domiciled in the current primary schools, so that and the reasons were two, mainly. The first reason was because it is going to be cost effective, because we have an extra 2 classes, that is standard 7 and 8. And then the other one was the issue of cost to the parents, where they felt that if they were to move to secondary school, they'll need to pay more for those uniforms and such other things. There was also the question of age, because it was felt that these children are much younger, and if they went to join their older brothers in high school, there might be a challenge there. So there is a decision that has already been reached that these schools, these children, this year 9 will be domiciled in.
There's a point of order here from
Yes.
the Deputy Speaker.
No, I'm saying when you say the age, you say it very lightly, because the age is a 10-year-old going to be able to be mixed with, children of the other gender and who are 18. There's a likelihood of sexual abuse.
Yes, that is the reason.
Yeah, so make sure that
Yes.
that's very passionate about.
It was a well thought out decision because of those challenges where the older boys would perhaps, I wouldn't know, but they would perhaps end up molesting the younger boys, and that brings other challenges.
Point of order. But, Mr. Speaker, the ones who would be in grade 9 would be the same age the Form 1s were before. So there are no 10-year-olds to go to grade 9. But what I am asking the nominee, grade 9, they do not have the classes in the junior secondary schools or the primary schools, where if you are confirmed, and it's only 3-4 months left, if you are confirmed, where are you going to take those grade 9s? And we do not even have labs in the primary schools or JSS. So where are you going to take them? It's only 3-4 months remaining. We need to think about it.
Very quickly, while in the high schools, we will have empty 2 classes and a laboratory or 2 which are full there. So I don't know what we will use those classrooms for while we don't have them in the primary schools.
Yeah, I was actually coming to that. Thank you for those interjections. when the decision was reached that grade 9 or the junior school will be domiciled in primary schools.
Migos,
Yes.
you are answering questions as if you are a minister in office, defending a position. You are a nominee minister. The questions being put to you is for you to tell this committee whether what they're asking you, the vetting members, whether what they're asking you